I'm just as surprised as you are that you clicked on this video, because we always tend to think as introverts, as overly logical people that spend too much time working indoors, that the laws of abundance and detachment and all these other things are a waste of time, complete BS, and has no impact on the actual amount of work productivity you have, right? But you clicked on this video because you might have a couple of doubts about maybe some of the validity of it. Maybe you've seen some people online who are less professional. I'm not even going to throw out tons of examples, but maybe there's some people online like TJR or Brez Scales, or even I have a friend recently who his name is Mason Lewis, who told me about a lot of these things like the law of abundance and detachment, and recommended I got into more of your subconscious mind. And I thought, wow, this guy's been telling me this for years, and it's complete BS. So what if we broke this down from a completely logical perspective, from along the lines of getting something valuable out of this, like how you can grow your personal brand, how you can get 100,000 subscribers if you blank. We'll get into that. We'll get into what mind state over mindset is and what all this other stuff means and how you can actually use it for work to actually get somewhere productive. But in order to do all that, let's just start with an actual example so that you can kind of understand, okay, what is this guy talking about? Why should I even waste my time with this? So a quick example would be about dating. If you're going to go into it with a mindset of, wow, I will get this person, I will get someone awesome to be around me, then I'm going to attract more people that look like the girl that I want to talk to, right? If you want to find someone like that, you need to come at it from a perspective of, okay, yes, I'm going to get this person, I will get them if. I will get them if. Now there's this important second piece here that you can't forget about, and that is, I will get this person, I will be around this person if I don't need them. If you don't need this person, then you will find them eventually. And this kind of plays into a very similar philosophy of the Alex Hormozy mindset, actually, which works out great because Alex Hormozy, very big, influential, logical business owner, thinker, as far as how if you just work more, then you will eventually get the success that you're looking for. And in the same sense, this aligns with that, actually. Like, some of you might think that like law of detachment and abundance and all these things are bullshit and they don't interact at all with getting work done. And it's like, no, this is about as much as daily actionable as it gets. If you don't practice this every day, you're also not going to get what you want. This is just another toolbox for when things get difficult, but I'll explain. So you will get 100,000 subscribers if you don't need it. If you don't need this end goal that you have this goal, it exists, but you don't need it. Because if you've ever thought about dating, for example, and you're trying to meet all these people and you're trying to get around the right person and you want to meet someone so badly, how do you think that comes across? How do you think that comes across when you're talking to, 10, 20, 30 different people and you just are like, come on, I just really want to talk to you and get you on this date and just like, let's get it over with, like on to the next one, It's like, of course it's going to come across like you want it too badly, because you do. And you know it inside yourself. Most importantly, you feel it inside yourself every single day, every single second. And so you act that way, you talk that way, you walk that way, you feel that way, and that becomes who you are. You become the person that needs it, not the person that wants it, sure. The person that it would be nice to have, and the person that has it as a goal, but they don't need it. So that's my best example, just to kind of get you interested, to give you a little bit of a taste as to why this is important, because that's a very practical example as to how this applies. But as I explained in the recent law of abundance video that I posted last Friday, you will understand that that is on the spectrum over here of very illogical, very kind of like I mentioned in that video that like the dumbest thing you could do is love someone, right? Because it's like you're introducing inherent risk to your own life. And so business and success and career is all the way over here on this continuum. And so it's like, okay, relationships, that's easy. This is all, love, all that stuff. That's kind of woo-woo anyway. How do we translate this into business and more logical scenarios? Well, that's why I have a sales example for you guys as well. And admittedly, this does take a bit of faith. So if you're completely logical and you have no faith in universe at all, one quick question I have for you is, literally scientists asked AI, they asked, ChatGPT and any other like sentient beings that we've had as computer analysts to ask, okay, what's the chance that the Big Bang or anything that we have as this reality that it turned into from dust and cosmos from the stars evolved over billions of years into creating us humans with these advanced brains that created AI in and of itself. And we asked it, what are the actual possibility that you think that this would actually happen in any realistic scenario ever? And they said it's practically impossible that we even exist as human beings. And if you think that's all up to chance and that literally everything in life happens for no reason other than just, this tiny, tiny, tiny little chance, then maybe this video is not for you. But as a very, very logical person up to like the 99th percentile, I still have a tiny bit of faith. And so this is for the people that do have that faith still. So that's where that sales example is going to come in. But before we get into that, something I'm going to jump into really quickly is if you do say that you need it, for example, again, just to kind of reprove some of my goals here, this is on the back of here, my entire life timeline of goals. I've written out everything. Like don't get me wrong. I don't normally think on this wavelength, but it's like if we're talking about getting this 100K subscriber goals, I've got it broken down into months, days, weeks, years, decades, as far as how long this is going to take. What actions do I need to take to get there? So it's like, yes, I know it takes the actions, and this is not a way to get yourself to do the actions, to write them out. Like everything that's logical as far as taking actions and putting in the hours still applies, but this is about getting higher quality hours and higher quality rest in between so that you can continue to keep the mindset of consistency so that you can get back to work. So back to it though. If you're focused on the fact that you need these goals so badly, if you have all these goals every single day, every single week, and you write them down, but more importantly, you review them every single day as if that's going to define what you do instead of just taking the action, you're in the complete wrong mindset. Because then you're focusing on the fact that you want the 10,000 subscribers that you're supposed to get by the end of the month. The fact that you need the 10,000 subscribers, that you are fantasizing and wishing about them, and all these other things, which again, comes back to the law of abundance video, but it's about lack. The fact that you lack that is all you remind yourself of through wanting it. Through wanting this end goal, you actually remind yourself that you lack it. So stop focusing on the goal so much. Set it and forget it. Set the goal, move on and focus on the daily actions. Yes, have it in the back of your mind, but take the action that needs to be done. So I'm going to end it off with this example of a sales cycle that I recently ran to get some new clients. And the funniest thing was, obviously it ended in a sale, but the mindset that I had about it was so much focused on, this recent just work harder kind of mindset. It's like the back to the Alex Hormozy philosophy. But the first thing I had was like, okay, well, I really want to get this sales. I really want to get this sales call. So it's like this, I spend this first entire week, right? So this is week 1, just really pushing hard on sales calls, feeling like I'm just going to give it my all. Let's imagine I kind of gave that like let's say 90%, week 1, 90% effort is how we can put it. It's like, okay, I'm just going to keep trying. And then, okay, well, didn't get any sales that week. Got on, sent out tons of messages every single day on Upwork to get clients, get on a bunch of sales calls. No one closes. Okay, week 2. We come to week 2. All right, same thing. No results there. You already get the idea. But this week, I was like, maybe I should just work harder, right? That's the very logical approach. It's like, okay, we're just not doing enough volume. We need to work harder. So I'm going to come in here week 2 and put in 100%, right? I give everything this week. But at this point, my work ethic is completely depleted. So it comes around to week 3, continue wanting it, still no results, still no sales. Week 3, writing that down. But this time, it's like, okay, I'm depleted from 90, 100% effort. Now this week, we're back down to like 75% effort. And from there, even with that consistent piece, even though my energy is depleting, I eventually had what I like to call a crash out. I didn't want to do anything more like this. I desperately needed these sales, by the way. I was in a time where, no cash flow, also in debt, trying to get out of that hole. And it's like, we need some sales. Like, it's just a depressing time. It's funny how you get into these mind states of, okay, well, I need this thing so desperately, and that actually puts you on a terrible downward spiral. You always think about the work that needs to be done, and that actually makes you less productive. Versus, again, putting yourself in this mind state that you don't need things, that things are abundant. Again, if you want to check out the Law of Abundance video, it's linked in the top right-hand corner. But if you put yourself in a mind state that you have everything you need, that you already have in your mind, but you don't desperately need it, you just have it. You just have it up here, ready to access at will. You feel that you have the thing that you need, the thing that's your goal, you have it in your mind. That's so much better than just some mindset that, oh, if I be consistent, if I do 7-8 hours of work every single day, then I'll get it. Because yes, it's true. You can be consistent and get there. And that's the whole point of this mindset. If you want to be consistent, you need a way to consistently feel like it's even possible in the first place, right? If you want to put in not 90, then 75 the next week, and instead put in 100 every single week, or 90%, 90%, 90%, which is probably more realistic, then you need something that makes you feel like you actually can be consistent. And if you don't feel like you're in a place where you already have everything, but you don't desperately need it, if you don't feel abundant but not detached from the outcome, then of course you're going to want to quit. Of course you're going to crash out after 3 weeks of not having what you want because you're working hard and you're being, quote, consistent, but you actually have no ability to be consistent because you are so focused on the end goal versus someone who is instead focused on the fact that they already have everything they need and that they don't desperately need the end goal. They have everything they could possibly feel like they need, that they are wanting to achieve, but they don't desperately need it to happen right now. Because that person isn't going to quit and crash out after 3 weeks. They will go on and on and on and on and on until eventually they get to the sale. And that's what happened once I finally detached from this. In this example, again, this is why I said you need a bit of faith earlier, but after this crash out, I just had a moment that night with God where I was like, man, I don't know if this client's going to close. I sent him one final message and then I just kind of stayed up till like 2, 3 a.m., like trying to talk to ChatGPT, trying to like, numb myself to the fact that I didn't know if anything was going to fucking work out because I was just in a terrible mind state. Again, not in the mindset that I don't need it, but eventually I just kind of submitted a little bit to God and was just kind of like, well, and again, I'm not even the most religious person in the world, but it's like, that's the switch up I had for me. And I focused again on the fact that, you know what, it's okay if I don't get it. If it doesn't happen, like what else am I supposed to do at this point? I just have to keep going. I accept that I no longer need this sale right now. And I also just have some faith too that God will help me out. And I asked for some help that night. And that's not even the point. The point isn't about faith. If you're not very religious, that's fine. The point is detach from it. Detach. That's the law of detachment for you right there. Detach from the fact that you need 100,000 subscribers and you will get it. And I detached from it and I got my sale. And then I got another sale and another sale and it keeps going from there. And so, as a final reminder, you don't need it if you want to get it. Because if you do need it, it's not going to come to you. So, I'm not going to reiterate that too much. I think that kind of goes full circle for you. Again, remember that it's more about your mind state than your mindset. It's not about what the goal is, it's about how you feel about it. And how you feel right now as if you already have it. And if you want to know more on that, again, check out the video on the screen on the law of abundance. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.